It is imperative that you give yourself time to be vulnerable with yourself, to stop being strong. It's imperative that you take time to grieve the person that you thought you was as you're going through this journey that we call a spiritual awakening. I know it's like popular to talk about this now. When I first went through it, it wasn't that many people talking about it. And I had to go through the ascension sickness. And this happens when you start to elevate. You start to rise above the conditioning and the programs and the codes that you learn to live by to be safe. And when you start to rise above that, there is usually a reaction, kind of like when you cut yourself and white blood cells flood that area to make sure that area doesn't get infected. And you also start to purge. You start to release what no longer is serving you. This includes people, places, things, habits, mindsets. And your physical body becomes a mirror reflection of whatever trauma is unprocessed in you. It's really trippy to think that in this lifetime, you are being given the opportunity to be a version of you that you were always meant to be. And that requires a shedding. See, breath is birth. This is why the two words have the same letters switched around, and you really could say they are the same words. So every time you take a conscious breath, you are birthing another fragment of the fragmented soul into your physical being, into your present moment. And for a lot of us who are black sheep, a lot of us who grew up poor, a lot of us who would be considered the lower class, in the spiritual realm, you're royalty. And this is the process of going through a spiritual awakening. So the process of deconditioning, which is what you are being driven to do. And this is why learning your human design and your genetic trauma is important. It was so important for me to offer that service. There are plenty of other people offering that service. But because I am an intuitive, a medium, an empath, codependent, people pleaser, and went through a lot of trauma, resilience coach, feminine embodiment coach, channeler, there are other aspects that I bring when I offer this service. And I don't know how long I'm going to offer this service at the price that it's at, because really that was just for me to help as many people as I possibly could in case they weren't able to afford how much this service is really valued at. But that's another topic for another time. But what I want to talk about is when you learn how to be hyper responsible. I'm speaking to the women who were parentified daughters who for whatever reason had to grow up faster than your chronological age, and you had to learn how to take on responsibilities and do things. Maybe you felt responsible. A lot of this has a lot to do with why you chose the parents that you chose. Nothing is by coincidence. Everything is a divine plan. Empowerment and enlightenment comes when you can look in the darkness and see the light, right? Because darkness gives birth to light. And so you can't get to love and light without going into the darkness. And so for a lot of us, especially us indigenous women, we have learned to be strong. And it's difficult for a man to be with us if we're always being strong. You have to have periods of time that you give yourself to unlearn being that strong black woman and to be able to be vulnerable, to rest, to relax, to be weak, to be soft, to not have to be hard, to not have to be hustling. So do what you do. Do what you need to do to keep your life flowing. But make sure that you carve out time to be soft. And the more that you do this for yourself, you're actually becoming the divine masculine version of you to yourself, which sets up a template for you to have an external mirror of that divine masculine energy outside of you. So for a lot of people who are having relationship issues, like truly, the way that you heal that is by doing the inner work with yourself. And yeah, it's not intellectual. It's mind, body, soul. You have to approach this from all three aspects, which is why my course is all three aspects. And I'm really not trying to make this about me, but I wanted to express this, and I want to show you all a depiction of this journey where the black sheeps become the phoenix that rises from the ashes. This is exactly what is happening right now. And so in the future, if we continue to do the work, and depending on, whether or not if you were chosen one or not, if you're watching me, you obviously are, because I'm not easy to find. Okay? You find me when you're ready for me. So if you are a chosen one, if you are a cycle breaker, a paradigm shifter, you're unlearning and deconditioning so that you can become someone else, which means there's going to be grief, and you're gonna grieve the person that you are releasing. On my Patreon, I have a false self funeral, and that's another conversation for another time as well, because the false self is the avatar version of us created by the 3D matrix to be the personality that we use to try to navigate relationships as peacefully as possible. But see, we can't make real connections like that anymore. We're not being allowed to do that. So I want to show y'all a depiction of this softness being held in this masculine containment. And I want you to remember, it starts with you doing this with yourself. So don't look to nobody else right now. I don't care if you've been married 28 years. Don't look to your partner for this. You look within and you start to nurture this part of yourself. And for those of us who feel like we've had hard lives, it was for a reason. And that was to turn that pain into your purpose. A lot of people are going to be leaving careers and jobs and doing new things as they begin to go deeper into this soul journey, into this work. So check this out. He said, blame it all on me. That's divine masculine energy. It's not running from accountability. It's, you know what? I'll take the blame because I can handle it. You don't have to be strong right now. And this is what we need to do with ourselves. You don't have to be strong all the time. Give yourself time to be vulnerable, to grieve, to be weak, to treat yourself like a baby. And this is true self-love.